Hey, my name is Barry Mathis, and I just wanted to sit with you today and talk with my friend Jim Adams. Jim Adams, how long have you been in the title escrow business?
Title and escrow about 20 years, but about 2 years before that, even I used to sell data to title companies. So around 1998.
Wow! So you pretty much could say that you spent almost a lifetime of working lifetime at a high level with title and escrow companies?
Correct, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to talk with you today. We've had something that's come up a lot lately. We're seeing it on the news. I'm hearing about it in different formats. I just had one of my clients, an elderly client, call me and say that he was worried that somebody was stealing his equity because they had gotten a hold of his title and recorded something. So we're just going to jump right into that topic. I know that you've got a lot going on in your life, but if we could talk about that, what is going on with title theft? People are saying they're stealing the equity. Can you tell us a little about it?
So the whole issue kind of started with a company called Home Title Lock. We see them advertised everywhere on different news networks. They're all over the radio. They do mailers. But really what they did was expose the weakness in our recording system. So give you an example. Let's say you own a property and it's owned free and clear. I can deed that property from you to me with a fraudulent deed with the county recorder. The county recorder has to, by law, record that document as long as it meets all their criteria.
Hold on, even if it's fraudulent and I didn't have anything to do with it?
Correct. I can go on today to any public website and get a copy of the deed that was recorded, your original deed that was recorded, so I know how you hold your title. I take that, create a deed, and a lot of companies put blank deeds online, and I would create that deed, go grab a notary stamp from a document that's been recorded within the last couple of weeks from the county recorders, and I create this deed that looks real. Go to the county recorder, present it, they record it. I now, in the county's eyes, own your property.
Wow, that seems like I don't know if I'm given a textbook for the criminals on how to do it, or if it just seems too simple. I mean, how could will that stand up to review? Someone would actually take my property?
So, it is that easy for one, and the criminals have been educated by Home Title Lock in their advertisements because they talk about how easy it is. And I can tell you it's now entered the dark web, and there's step-by-step instructions on how to do it. There's lists that you can go get, but there's people that are at high risk, there's people at a medium risk and low risk.
Explain the difference a little bit on that.
So a high risk individual would be somebody that owned a piece of vacant land with no mortgage. Somebody that owned a second home with no mortgage, or had a vacation rental that maybe had a small mortgage on it. Those are going to be your ones that are a high risk. And 85 million properties in the United States are at that high risk today. Medium risk would be somebody that had a low loan to value. So your property's worth $1 million and you owe 200,000. They're in that low risk. And then a no risk is somebody that typical, property, they have a mortgage, they might even have a HELOC, things like that have clouded the title that are going to make it difficult to do something with. They're really at low risk.
So what you're really saying is, if there's equity there to be had, the more equity you have in relation to the value of the home, meaning the less you owe on the house compared to what it's worth, those are the ones that are high risk because they're more attractive in the first place for someone to come after them.
And they're the low-hanging fruit. They're easier to commit the fraud on.
So what is it that someone could do if they're out there, like my client who is worried about it? What can they do to prevent that from happening?
So there's two things you can do. One is you can sign up for a monitoring system. Now there are companies out there that'll charge you for it, like Home Title Lock, that's $250 a year, and they will monitor your property and notify you if something changes on it. Unfortunately, that can come anywhere from a week after it's happened to 6 months. It really depends on the county recorders and how fast they get that public data out. Or like where we are, Sacramento, Placer counties, they have an online system that's available free of charge. So So you
Okay.
can go there, register, and it'll monitor you for any, notify you of any changes. That's great if there is a change that happens before the crime is committed. So let me give you an example. In Incline Village about a month ago, a gentleman called the real estate agent and said we'll use my name, Jim Adams, and I own this vacant land in Incline Village. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'd like to sell it. Real estate agent did a great job. They did their due diligence. They pulled up the property, saw Jim Adams was the owner, and that Jim Adams lived in Atlanta, Georgia. They listed the property. Property got a buyer, went to the title company. The title company called Jim Adams, or the contact information they had for Jim Adams, and he said, yes, I own this property, but I'm in the military and I'm getting stationed in, I think it was South Africa. I will need to sign at the American consulate in South Africa. Well, as a title company, we do that all the time. We sign people in different countries at the American consulate where they're notarized. It happens regularly. Documents were sent to the American consulate. The guy went in, presented an ID as Jim Adams, signed the document, property closed. Jim Adams was sent a check. Unfortunately, he was a fraudulent Jim Adams. He didn't really own the property. The property owner found out by the closing documents getting sent to them.
So the only thing that had been changed was the phone number of where to contact the Jim Adams. That's how he
even
was
the phone
contacted.
number. It was just he presented. I would have called the real estate agent if I'm the fraudster and said, "Hey, I own this property. I'd like to sell it. Here's all my contact information."
Okay, got it.
So how easy is it to get a fake ID nowadays?
Right.
That's one way that the monitoring system would have never warned you of that and would have never told you of that. And that's where myself and a friend of ours have created a product called Equity Protect.
Okay.
And so what we do is we do monitor the property, but first we go in and we validate the owner. We make sure the owner is really the owner. And then we put the property into our system, and we record a brand new document that we've had drawn up with the lead counsel for the American Land Title Association, and it's called the Notice to Restrict. And so it basically says that it's restricting any transfers or any new liens to be held on the property without the written permission of the homeowner. So what that does is when the title company were to see that, they're like, hey, wait, I can't do anything. I need to contact the owner and get, the owner of this document, which is Equity Protect.
Right.
And we would contact who we know to be the owner because we verified them. And we would then say, are you really trying to sell your property, or are you really trying to refinance? Yes, I am. Okay, then we give them the release they need. If they say no, we notify them that this is fraudulent.
So that sounds a lot like, if I was to paraphrase it, sounds a lot like putting a credit freeze on your credit.
It's exactly that way.
So that way nobody can make charges on it.
It's a credit lock for your title.
So you said that the home lock monitoring was $250 a year. How much is this service to have this restricted deed put on your?
So Equity Protect for the first year is $250 plus a little bit of recording fees. Depends on the county as to what the recording fees are. And then each subsequent year after that is $99.
Okay.
So for $8 a month, or thereabouts, you're protecting the home equity, your home title from anything occurring. Now, in fairness, if we step back, if these things were to occur, so let's take the property in Incline Village.
Correct.
The title company is ultimately going to pay the property owner back for the monies that were, lost, and they would get the property back. However, it would come with a corrective deed, which a lot of title companies, when we go to, do new title insurance on, we're a little edgy of, but it will, ultimately the owner will get the property back. But a lot of headache, a lot of attorney fees, a lot of stress, $8 a month, no stress.
So you mentioned home title lock and that they charge about $250 for that first year. You guys are also about $250 for the first year at least.
Sure.
Then you go down after that, whereas they don't go down. But what else is different between the service you provide and the service they provide? And then while we're on the subject, can you use this service no matter where you're at in the country?
Sure. So the difference between the two technologies, one, home title lock charges you $240 a year to do exactly what the county will do for free.
In our counties.
In our counties, in Placer, Sac, and a lot of counties in California, and more counties are adding this. But so the service that you could really go get for free, they're charging you for. So what do we do for the 240? Well, one, we add the credit, the lock, the property lock on.
Which actually prevents it from happening before it happens, not just tells you about it happening after it happens.
Correct. We do give you a monthly update as to what's recorded on your home, so you get that each and every month. We also provide insurance with the product. So if something were to sneak by us, we will cover up to $1 million in legal fees and cost to correct what was any fraud that was caused on that property. So you get quite a few things with us that you don't get with Home Title Lock, and something that you could have gotten for free.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
And then your question about where are we? We're in all 50 states.
Okay.
So,
awesome.
Cover everywhere.
Yeah, so this property is really for that person that wants that peace of mind. They may own that property free and clear, and then they just want that extra peace of mind of having, I know this is not going to be a problem. And so because you could solve it, ultimately you'll be vindicated, but because we don't want to teach fear and gloom to everybody. No. We're not trying to scare everybody into doing something, but if you really want that peace of mind, it sounds like for the same thing with the credit, you just put that restrictive deed on it and it just stops it from ever happening.
Correct.
So that notice is great. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to share that with us. I know that a lot of people have questions around that. If somebody's wanting to get a hold of you to get more detail on that, maybe you're a real estate agent that wants to provide this service to your clients. Maybe you pump that first year out, give them that peace of mind. If you want to do that, how can somebody get a hold of you, Jim?
They can easily go to equityprotect.com.
Okay.
And our phone number is there. They can give us a call. And that's a good, you started to bring up a good point for agents. If you've had clients that are cash buyers in the last 5, 6, 7 years, it's a perfect time to reach back out to them and say, hey, I'm your real estate agent for life. I remember you were a cash buyer. There's this fraud and this concern going on, and here's a technology that can help you. I just want to make you aware of it. What a great touch point for your clients.
Absolutely, and we'll definitely be sending this out to our past clients, many of whom were cash buyers. We work with a lot of investors, and if they want to reach out to you, they'll jump onto that equityprotect.com. It's right down here below, and we'd love to have that be a peace of mind that we can give to them. Thank you so much for coming out of the way. I know you came over from Reno to talk to us, so good to see you again, Jim.